What's up, everyone? In this video, I want to go over my Thinkorswim layout, the time frame charts that I use, how each chart is laid out, what I look for, the stocks that I trade. I also want to go over time and sales with Active Trader and a very good tip for option traders. I'm also going to break down the studies that I use, different indicators, and I'm going to show you how I draw supply and demand. We had a nice bounce off of that demand zone today, with just some overall great Thinkorswim shortcuts, tips, and tricks. I'm going to timestamp each segment of the video below so you can view whatever you'd like. But before we get into it, if you are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button to my channel. It would mean a lot. Also, if you want a very good trading resource, I'm going to link my Instagram in the description below, at InvestiTrade. I definitely recommend following this. I post daily trading recaps on here, along with very good trading tips and tricks that I guarantee you're not going to find anywhere else. Link is in the description below at InvestiTrade. Definitely recommend following it. But now, let's get right into this video. I briefly want to get into the time frames that I do use. We could pull down this drop down. These are all the time frames that I use to draw supply and demand imbalances. These are also all of the time frames that I use to trade, some of them intraday, some of them are overall market context. So if you want to pause the video and take a screenshot of this, these are the time frames that I use. I will say the days are not very relevant. Really, the intraday time interval is what matters the most, but those are the ones that I use. Now, what's important is how my charts are laid out. One thing I will say is I always will have an S&P 500/ES, where I will always have a /NQ laid out in my charts. I'm grateful enough to have more than one monitor, so I always have both up. However, for those that have one or two monitors, I'm going to show you a cool trick, but I recommend keeping it up. I always have this on a 5-minute, a 15-minute down here, a 30-minute on the top left, and then I switch between like a 1 hour or a 90-minute or even like a 3 or 4 hour on the bottom left. This is the chart I play with. I zoom out, I could see nice volume, I could see what the trend is, higher highs, higher lows, an overall good sense of market context with this bottom left chart. The two right charts are my intraday, and then the 30-minute could also be intraday, but I kind of like get a good sense of the trend as well. I just like using multiple time frames and having a multiple time frame analysis for my trades, which give me higher probability. Now I also have another window with NQ, the same exact time frame layouts. And then on another monitor, I have a 6 equity layout. I have Tesla, Roku. I constantly switch these throughout the day of what I'm watching. You know, if a different stock is on my watch list that I post in the Discord, or I'm just watching something else, you know, I'll constantly go to different names and see different things. I also have a couple other monitors. If you want to see a full like office layout with a PC build video, I can show you my PC. Comment down below in the comments. I could, make a video if that's something you all want to see. But it's very simple. The most important thing is to have the market up. And if you trade other equities, at least have a monitor with, 6. You could even do, 12 other screens. There's this button up here that changes the cells for how many stocks you have on your screen. You could go crazy and have 100 different ones if you want to, right? But the less noise is more important in trading. So I have 6 there. I also have 6 on another monitor. For those that have one monitor or two monitors, like I said, I recommend having ES and NQ. But if you have limited screen space, a very cool tip or trick is have your S&P or have your NASDAQ on this. Now, I also have them all linked up. So I have it, if you go to next to the ticker symbol, you see this little number 1. I have every single chart on here labeled as 1. So if I want to type in, let's just say NQ, NQ is going to come up on all my charts. Or I want to go back to the S&P, I got S&P now back on all my charts. Time frames stay the same. However, if you are limited with screen space, a very cool tip or trick is on the top left. You could see flexible grid over here next to charts. If you click this, I have it customized so that I could have 6 other stocks on this. So if I'm looking at these stocks, let's just say I have a laptop or 1 or 2 monitors and I'm limited with my screen space, I could quickly go back to that S&P screen, or I could quickly go back to now those equities. Maybe I could right click this, hit maximize sell down here, and now make it, one chart, go back. Now I have 6. And if you go over here to this little drop down, you could click customize grid, and I could keep adding charts. I could remove charts. I could add a chart under this. So you could fully customize it. You could remove the sidebar, but this is a good little trick that if you are limited, just keep going back and forth. I could add, an option chart here. It doesn't really matter. This just saves time if you are limited. Just keep going back and forth. It's very, very simple. Next, very important component to the layout is my time and sales. Now I'm going to maximize this. And this time and sales looks a little different than what normally looks like on TOS. So to get time and sales up, all you got to do is click the sidebar and you'll see time and sales. Now what I did was I customized mine to show a little different pieces of information just because this helps me develop context intraday, especially when we combine key levels, support, resistance, and even supply and demand imbalances. So what I did here was there's a little settings icon. You could click this, customize, and I have mine set to the time, which really isn't that important. But what is important is I have the bid, I have the price in the middle, I have the ask, and then I have the size. So you could copy that. Now what this means to me is on TOS, it doesn't color coordinate to a buy and sell, meaning green does not mean a buy order and red does not mean a sell order. If you were to pause this tape, sometimes we could have green prints that are on the bid price, and sometimes we could have red prints that are on the ask price. What the colors represent are upticks or downticks in the last transaction, which is why you always see a spur of red and then a spur of green as it's an up or downtick as the prices change. Now what's important here, because TOS does not color code it, is I've added the bid and the ask. So if we trade an instrument like the futures, the S&P 500, or even in the NASDAQ, bid and ask is important because any price that hits the bid is an aggressive sell, and any price on the time and sales that hits the ask is an aggressive buy getting hit from a passive seller sitting on the ask. So this gives us context, meaning, if we see 100, 200, 300, lots being hit on the ask or hitting on the bid and we're in demand, that order might get absorbed. And especially when you add the context of demand, we could have a nice rally out of it. So it just helps me develop context. And what I do is if you click the size, you could go to custom size filter. To alleviate noise, my S&P, I add it to 40. I'm constantly changing this to depending on the dynamic of the market, volatility, certain conditions, as conditions present different opportunities. But right now I'm leaving it as 40. You can click enter on that. And now instead of having 100 different things come through on here, which serves kind of no meaning to me because the S&P is the most liquid market in the world, I now have mine set to 40. So now I could filter out higher tickets that come through. And I want to see aggression, I want to see absorption, I want to see continuation as volume shows interest. Now we have the same time and sales on the NASDAQ/NQ. You all know that I trade QQQ options off of this NQ chart. They are identical. And I trade SPY options off of the ES chart. For those that trade futures, you could trade directly off of this chart as well. These are just instruments, very liquid. Now my NQ time and sales is a little different. So I have the time. Honestly, time is not very important because if you see an order coming through, it's in the present moment, and in the market, present is everything. So I still have the bid, price, ask, but on the custom filter on NQ, right now I switch it between 5 and 7 just to alleviate noise. You could obviously see bigger orders like 20 or 10, but I keep that size to that. And the same exact thing, I use this to develop context. For example, we rejected supply today. Obviously want to see heavier volume coming out. It's apparent on the time and sales, other price and volume tools as well, but it's a very good tool to gauge context, see participation, and these are actual orders coming through into the market. You could see who's aggressive, you could see who's passive, and it gives you a serious edge. So that's it on ES and NQ. And if I'm doing something like a stock, for example, Tesla, or any other stock, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, it does not matter, even penny stocks. My time and sales filter is just a normal one, but how I use the time and sales on an equity, since it doesn't get traded per tick size, it could be any price. I just have the regular thing here, the regular time and sales. And what I do is, for example, yesterday, this was in the pre-market plan. We were watching Tesla for some volume to build. It flagged over here, and we were watching for some volume to build above the flag. Now, this is going to bring me into the study that I use with the volume a little later on in this video. However, if I'm trading a equity and I'm playing, let's say, a key level resistance breakout, or I'm playing a breakdown below support or something like that, I use the time and sales not as I would on ES and NQ, but more as an area to look at the speed of the tape. Meaning if I'm playing a breakout, let's just say today, Tesla over 900. So let me draw a support line here, this or resistance line. This was resistance not only yesterday, but this was also resistance today. So I'll make this a little wider. And let's just say we were watching Tesla break above 900 at the time the market was trading. What I would want to see if I'm playing a breakout above 900 is fast orders coming through on the time and sales. And I want to see 900 get defended. If you do watch the level 2, you want to see buyers passively increase above 900, showing interest above that level. And you want to see the tape above that level speed up, because that indicates more volume and more interest is coming into the market above whatever level you're looking at. It goes for any stock, any market as well, but that is a good tool to use. Studies and indicators. If you've been following my channel for a while, or if you're new, I recommend subscribing. You all know that in my videos, I stress the importance of price and volume, as they are the most leading indicators in the market. Price and volume, physically, and orders coming into the market are the only things that could physically move the market, and it's how the auction facilitates trade. So if you're looking at 100 different indicators and your charts look messy, it looks like a 5-year-old drew on them, I'm not going to say it's bad for you, but it might be hurting you and slowing down your progress than actually benefiting you. So if you look at all my charts, I could even pull up my 6 equities, they all only have VWAP, and they all only have a normal or a custom volume subgraph down here, because I only look at price and volume. Now we'll get into VWAP. So to add VWAP to your charts, all you got to do is go to studies, go to add study, go to all studies, go to V, the last one, and you'll see VWAP. Now your VWAP is going to be a little different. It's going to show a upper and a lower band. So I just right clicked it, go to edit study. And what I do is I uncheck all of these show plots for the upper and for the lower band. And I keep the normal settings for regular VWAP. And I only have one middle VWAP band. It's the only band that I'm interested in trading at. I also have another video on this about how I use VWAP. But after VWAP, I only have the custom buying and selling indicator down here. Now I just made a video on it. I think it was the video before this one that I posted last Tuesday. It's my favorite indicator. It's the best one in my opinion. You could use the normal volume subgraph that comes standard across TOS. Knowing how to read volume, whether you're looking at this custom one or just a normal standard one, it's very, very important, and it gives you a crazy, crazy edge if you know how to interpret volume in relationship to price. I say it in all my videos. To become successful in trading, you must develop a deep relationship with price and volume. So how I use this briefly, I recommend everyone to go look at the video. I'll actually link it in the description below if you want to go watch that one after this. But how I use that is, it has a label up here. It shows the daily average volume. You could customize that. I have mine from the past 30 days. It averages out the volume, and it shows me how much volume is being displayed today. So right now we have 390,000 lots traded compared to a daily average of 560. It's currently 1 o'clock Eastern, so we still got 3 hours before the market closes, and we're only, we're more than 75% near a full daily average. And we also, rejected supply and bounced off of demand. Now, what the colors on the volume show is buying and selling pressure. If we're inside of a supply zone, we see a lot of buying pressure, but no follow through. It's a good sign to get short. It's a bearish sign. And if we see some selling pressure inside of demand and no follow through to the downside, it's a good area to get long, especially when you add context to it. For example, supply and demand. But it just shows pressure from bulls to bears. Green does not mean to get long. Red does not mean to sell. You must use context with it. So those are the only two indicators that I use. There's nothing special to them. It's if you understand how the market facilitates trade, actual orders is what moves price itself. Probably one of the best features on Thinkorswim is the active trader. So if you go to the sidebar, you're going to see in two letters, it says AT. If you click that, that's going to show active trader. Now what this is a vertically designed level 2. We have a bid and an ask on a level 2, but on active trader, it shows the depth of market. It also shows volume depending on price, and it shows all of the active bids, shows all of the active asks, and it shows the price. So it's essentially just a vertical level 2. They call it the depth of market. Now, this is also a very good tool to trade options. If you trade options on Thinkorswim, you are at a serious disadvantage if you do not use active trader to send your orders through. So I have an options layout over here. I'm gonna pull this up. Well, that's another good tip, is you could save different layouts. I have futures, I have my NQ and stocks, I have my options. So this is my options layout. Let's just say we want to trade SPY calls, right? Like I mentioned earlier, I'm using the S&P futures chart /ES to trade SPY calls. I got my 5-minute chart up here in the top left. I could filter from 5-minute to 1-minute. Got my 15 down here, and I got my 30-minute with my time and sales down here filtered to 40. Just to sum everything up that we've been going through. So let's just act like it was about 11:30. We come into this demand zone at 45.18. This was also posted in the pre-market plan at this 45.18. We had a couple zones higher that we had aggressive selling pressure through it. So now what I'm going to do is, if I'm trading options, this goes for any stock, Tesla, Amazon, Boeing, Facebook, does not matter. I'm going to go to the trade tab and I'm going to type in whatever instrument I'm looking to trade at. So if I'm trading ES, I want to put SPY in over here. They are the same instrument. And let's just say we were bouncing off of the, or let me actually unlink this. And let me go back here to ES. Now let's just say we were playing calls off of this 45.18 demand zone. I'm going to pick up, let's just call it the 453 calls on SPY. So what I would do is you could right click any contract you're looking to trade. I'm looking to trade the 453 calls. I have volume, open interest, and delta filtered as my layout. You could customize it to whatever you want. So I want the 453 calls. I'm clicking copy. I'm going up here to this top right chart that I created. And now what this is going to do is, I'm going to remove this pink theoretical option price, is it's going to show me the option chart now for the 453 calls. And I've loaded in the active trader for the contracts. So instead of going to the option screen and clicking, this, editing my quantity, editing my price, right? It's a slowed down process. You might take 15, 20 seconds to do all of this, right? And that 15, 20 seconds might cost you 10 or 20 cents on the options. If you're trading 10 contracts, it's $200 just because of a simple, little feature of the platform. Or if we want to trade the 453 calls, we could right click it, go to send to, and I could send it to whatever color that I have linked. So I'm going to send it to number 9 because if you look at the option chart here in the top right, I have it set to number 9. If we don't want to see the chart, it might confuse us. We could just get rid of it. And now we have the SPY 453 calls up here in the active trader. So there's a couple things you could do here. Let's just reenact, we're at this demand zone and we want to play calls. I'm going to put the chart up here so you could all, visually see it a little better. Because these were at 20 cents and they went to 80 cents. What kind of 20 cents at demand to 80 cents is 300% on a Friday. You invest $200, you're making $800, $600 profit in a 30-minute period. I'll take that all day long. So let's just say we're playing calls, we're at demand, we want to buy it. Up here on the active trader, you could go buy market, sell market, depending on what you want to do. But if you use an active trader and maybe the spreads are a little wide, there isn't high liquidity in the options, and I want to be a little passive and add liquidity to the market, put a limit order on the order book, I could edit my quantity. I could go 30, you could go 50, you could go to 100. You could customize those buttons as well. And I could go to whatever price I'm looking to buy and put it down there. Now, this account has $0 in it. It's a blank account. I just use TOS for charting. So you're going to get an order confirmation screen, which you would have to go and hit send to send the order. You confirm whatever price you want to do it. However, it offers a auto send button. So if you click that, that's going to delete that confirmation screen. I click it, and now my order is going to be sitting on the market. Obviously, I have no buying power because this account has nothing in it. But you save time without clicking the order entry screen, and now you have an order on the market, 100 contracts at 30 cents. Or I want to sell it, I go put 100 contracts on the offer. So it just saves a lot of time. With one click of a button, I could buy 100 contracts, 1,000 contracts. I could also sell it without going back and forth to now, the options. I want to buy puts. I got to click this. I got to edit the quantity. I got to edit the price, confirm and send. It's going to bring me to another screen. So it just saves time, right? I would definitely recommend using Active Trader if you trade options. It's just a very, very good tool. Also, another nice little tip is if you go to the options chain, you can't do this from Active Trader. You click whatever option you want to buy. Let's just say Tesla, right? I want to buy a Tesla 910 calls. You can edit your price and you see expected Tesla price. It's going to change depending on the option price that you select. Now, an option is a derivative, so it moves based off of the underlying asset minus a few other little factors such as the Greeks. So this number is never going to be 100% to the penny accurate, but it gives us a little ballpark range if you know how to manage your risk and understand Greeks, especially later in the week and especially when volatility is high or low. But for example, let's just say I'm in Tesla calls. I'm in at $1.50. My stop loss is maybe if Tesla hits 905. So I'm in the contracts at $1.50 and I want to get out if Tesla hits 905. What you could do is edit the price over here. And about when Tesla hits 905, the contracts are going to be about $1.25, $1.23-ish. So in that little area, it's not going to be crazy below it, crazy high above it. You're going to be in that general ballpark area. So if I were to stop out a Tesla when it hits 905, I got in at $1.50 on the contracts. My stop loss probably would be around $1.23. That would be my max pain if I'm wrong on my analysis. So is your expected value for any stock. You just mess with the order, and that's going to keep going up and down. It just shows you a ballpark estimate of what the chart will be in relation to the option. Now, the last part is my drawings. I'm going to show you how I draw supply and demand. I'm also going to show you how I do my support and resistance and my trend lines. So let me maximize this sell. A good little tip, if you use a mouse, if you push down your wheel of the mouse to scroll, it's going to pull up your option drawing set, instead of going up here or even going down here to the little tool. So if you push down on your mouse, it's going to bring that up. Let me remove these boxes and show you what I do. So I draw supply and demand zones, pink and green boxes, and I'm constantly drawing them as new imbalances form. So we have this demand zone down here at 153.02. So what I'm going to do is if I have a demand zone, it starts right here. I have my line set to default as green. I use the standard green. Width is not the same. I have my right extension on, so it automatically extends it to the right. And I could rename this as demand imbalance. Now, a demand imbalance is a zone. It's an area that the market found demand to exceed supply. It leaves an imbalance from the origin location. This is the origin location from this imbalance. And I'm actually going to draw it like this. I use the rectangle tool for this. So if you see down here, you got a little square box. It's called a rectangle. Now this is going to be a green transparent box. To edit this, you go here. I click the green color. I go to more. And I go to HSL. And I make this number 75. What this is going to do is going to higher the transparency so you could see through the zone. If we didn't have it transparent, it's going to look very bold. And you're not going to see the candles really through the zone. It's going to be a little confusing. You all know me. My charts are very simple. They're naked. They're very clean. The cleaner it is, the cleaner your emotions are, and the cleaner your thought process is. It's psychologically true, and subconsciously you don't even think about it. I'm telling you, it makes a big difference. So I make it 75. Watch what it's going to do to the rectangle. See how light it makes it? You can still see it's a green box. And to manually extend the rectangle, I just go to year 2023, and now it's just going to extend it all the way to the right to 2023. Same thing for supply and balance. So now we have our saved as default as green. So we can't always have pink and green. We're always going to have to manually do it. As you see, I just clicked that green line. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this pink. It's still extended to the right automatically. And I'm going to name this supply and balance. Same exact thing. I'm going to draw a box, but my box is going to be green now. So what I have to do is edit properties. I go to pink. I go to more. I go to HSL. I go to 75. Click OK. And I change the date to 2023 as it automatically extends that box. And now I just drew a quick imbalance for demand and a quick imbalance for supply. Let's just say we're trading a name like Tesla, for example. And let's just say we had resistance yesterday at 900 bucks. What I do for my resistance levels is I just make it it's simple, you know, a purple or a pink, yellow line. Click it. I go resistance. Make it pink. I make the width a little more, maybe 2 or 3. And now I got resistance there. I want to make maybe my label show the name on the left, show the price on the left. You know, I can make the price now over here. Trend lines are the same. It's just a regular white line. No prices. It looks very clean, my charts. It's very naked. And I actually don't have, if you go to the settings, you go to appearance. I took off the grid. So if I put my grid, you know, I mean, it's just a preference. It's kind of, I guess, an OCD thing. But I took the grid out. I made the black background transparent. So it just looks cleaner. You know, my charts, like I just said, the cleaner my charts are, the cleaner my thoughts are. So it just subconsciously has an effect. And then here's this Tesla thing. So let me see if I could extend this. Yesterday we had 31 million shares traded compared to a daily average of 18.7 million. Nice buying pressure, nice price rally. We flagged near the highs. We broke out, and that's actually where I played Tesla calls on that breakout. Increasing volume. Volume at that point was pretty high. I think we were at like 11 million or 12 million. So, you know, 45 minutes into the market open, we're already trading our average. That shows interest. That shows continuation. Then if you're watching the time and sales, I will say, I didn't say this earlier, I only use time and sales on equities if I'm playing a support or resistance break or a trend line break. I only use that for equities for that reason. I don't really use it other than that for context. But because I want to see the speed of the tape. If you were watching the time and sales at the time we broke out of this, you could see it on the chart with a thick, you know, green candle like that and heavy volume bar with extreme buying pressure. Right there, you know, those 2 points. That's valid confirmation for you to get long. Now, if you're watching the tape, you see that thing speed up like crazy. Another valid confirmation, you know. So just get creative with it. But that's pretty much it. You know, my Thinkorswim is very simple. There's nothing to it. I use 2 indicators, VWAP, and just a custom volume script. If you trade options off of it, Active Trader is the best. It's a good tip and trick, you know, with going back and forth between flexible grid and not. It just saves a lot of time. So if you want to see how I have each of my screens, my 6 monitors laid out, you know, feel free to let me know. Let me see if there's anything else in the settings. I showed you my time frames. Appearances are the same. That's pretty much it. Snap drawings. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and if you really want to learn more, check out the links in the description below. I offer a very in-depth and educational course that will come with access to the Discord. Very, very active and engaging community. Everybody, including myself, is looking to help each other out. I just added a voice chat as well. So that gets included with the course. So be sure to check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. But I'm out of here. Peace.